What if I told you that every successful person you admire is using a secret mental trick you've never been taught? And if you ignore this, you'll keep working harder than them while getting worse results. Here's why your mindset is the only thing standing between you and the life you want. You've been lied to. Success isn't about luck, connections, or even hard work alone. It's about how you program your mind. For nearly a century, the world's most powerful people have used the same mental blueprint, not by accident, but because it works. Today, we're breaking down the exact mindset shifts that separate those who struggle from those who succeed. Let's begin. Your thoughts are building your future right now. Every single thought that passes through your mind is like a worker on a construction site. Some are building skyscrapers, others are tearing them down. The problem? Most people don't realize they're the foreman of this project. They let any thought wander onto the job site without checking its blueprints. Negative self-talk shows up with a sledgehammer, and instead of kicking it out, they hand it a paycheck. Imagine walking past a real construction site every morning. The workers are arguing, "This foundation won't hold. The materials are cheap. We'll never finish on time." Would you invest in that building? Of course not. Yet this is exactly what you're doing with your mind. Every "I'm not ready and this won't work" is another crack in your foundation. Here's what the most successful people understand. Your brain doesn't distinguish between constructive and destructive thoughts. It builds whatever you feed it. Tell yourself, "I'm terrible with money" enough times, and your brain will find ways to make it true. It's not magic, it's mechanics. Your mind is designed to prove you right, whether you're right about success or failure. The shift starts with awareness. For one day, carry a small notebook. Every time you think or say something limiting, "I can't afford this," "I'm not smart enough," "things never work out for me," write it down. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. By sunset, you'll likely have a page filled with these mental termites, chewing away at your potential. Now the real work begins. For each negative thought, rewrite it as a question. "I can't afford this" becomes, "How can I create the income to afford this?" "I'm not smart enough" becomes, "What's one thing I can learn today to get smarter at this?" This isn't positive thinking. It's strategic thinking. You're not denying reality, you're engaging with it differently. Your brain is a supercomputer, and questions are its programming language. Ask, "Why am I so unlucky?" and it will scour your memories for proof of bad luck. Ask, "How can I turn this situation around?" and it will start searching for solutions. The same machine, different commands. This is why two people can face identical challenges. One sees roadblocks, the other sees stepping stones. It's not that their circumstances are different. It's that their mental construction crews are building different things. One is assembling a prison of limitations. The other is constructing a ladder to the next level. Start small. Today, catch just 3 negative thoughts and reframe them. Tomorrow, catch 5. Within weeks, you'll notice something extraordinary. Your default thinking begins to change on its own. Problems start looking like puzzles waiting to be solved. Setbacks feel like setups for comebacks. This isn't about denying difficulty. It's about recognizing that your thoughts are the raw materials from which your future is being built, and you're the one holding the supply chain keys. The burned letter exercise. How to erase limiting beliefs. There's an invisible weight you've been carrying for years. It's not in your pockets or your backpack. It's in your subconscious. Old messages from parents who said money doesn't grow on trees. Teachers who labeled you not a math person. Or that time you failed and decided, "I'm just not cut out for this." These aren't just memory. They're programs running in the background of your mind, steering your decisions without your permission. Here's how to uninstall them. First, find a quiet hour. Take out a sheet of paper. The physical act matters more than typing. Write at the top, "Limiting beliefs I've been carrying." Then let them pour out. Rich people are greedy. "I'm too old to start." Good opportunities are scarce. Don't filter. The more honest you are, the more powerful this becomes. When your page is full, read each one aloud. Hear how absurd some sound when spoken. That belief about money, probably something you overheard when you were 8. That idea about your limitations, often just someone else's opinion you mistook for truth. Now destroy it. Burn it safely in a metal bowl. Symbolism matters. Fire has been humanity's reset button for millennia, or shred it into confetti. As you do, imagine those beliefs leaving your nervous system. This isn't just theater. Neuroscience shows that physical actions cement mental shifts. The ritual helps your brain mark these beliefs as no longer true. Immediately take a fresh page. Write new beliefs at the top. Now craft replacements, in present tense, as if they're already true. Money flows to me in surprising ways. My age gives me unique advantages. Abundance is everywhere when I know how to look. Make them specific to what you actually want, not vague affirmation. Here's the critical part. For the next 30 days, read these new beliefs first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Why? Your subconscious is most impressionable when you're drowsy. It's why nightmares can shake you all day and why childhood bedtime stories stuck so deep. You're hacking that process. At first, you might feel silly. That's resistance. Your old programming fighting to stay installed. But around day 10, something shifts. You'll catch yourself thinking, maybe there is another way before the doubt fully forms. By day 30, you'll realize certain fears simply don't occur to you anymore. Like forgetting the password to an account you closed. This exercise works because it respects how your brain actually changes. You can't just think positive over deep conditioning. You have to bring the unconscious beliefs into awareness, writing them down. Create a clear break, destroying the paper, install new patterns through repetition. Daily reading, the strongest evidence. Watch what happens when old triggers arise. Someone mentions a great opportunity, and instead of "that's not for people like me," you find yourself curious. A challenge appears, and "I always fail at this," gets interrupted by "last time taught me what not to do." Those old letters from your past, consider them returned to sender. You're drafting new ones now, and this time you're the author. The 10-second rule that stops self-sabotage. Every great achievement begins with a single decision. The decision to act in alignment with success, rather than self-destruction. Yet so often we find ourselves trapped in cycles of procrastination, complaint, and surrender. Not because we lack ability, but because we fail to pause long enough to choose differently. There is a simple but profound rule that can break this cycle, the 10-second rule. Before you give in to the temptation to delay, before you utter words of frustration, before you allow yourself to quit, stop, pause for just 10 seconds. In that brief window, ask yourself one critical question. Is this what a successful version of me would do right now? That tiny gap between impulse and action is where transformation occurs. It is the moment where you step out of autopilot and into conscious choice. Most people never create this space. They react without thought, following old habits that keep them stuck. But those who master this pause, who insert that brief moment of reflection, begin to rewire their minds. At first, you may not always choose differently. You might still procrastinate. You might still complain. You might still feel the pull of quitting. But the mere act of noticing the choice trains your brain to recognize self-sabotage faster. Over time, this awareness grows stronger. The more you pause and question, the more you align your actions with the person you aspire to be. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. The first time you lift a weight, it feels heavy, but with repetition, the movement becomes easier. The same is true of decision-making. Each time you pause and ask yourself whether your next move aligns with success, you strengthen your ability to choose wisely. Consider the moments when you've given in to procrastination. What if instead of mindlessly scrolling or delaying the task, you had taken 10 seconds to reflect? What if you had asked yourself what the best version of you would do? That small interruption could have shifted everything. It could have pulled you back into focus, into discipline, into action. Complaining is another form of self-sabotage. Every moment spent in complaint is a moment wasted, energy drained on what's wrong rather than invested in making things right. But when you pause and ask whether a successful person would indulge in that complaint, something changes. You begin to see that venting frustration does not solve problems. It only entrenches them. The successful version of you would seek solutions, not dwell on obstacles. And then there is quitting, the ultimate act of self-sabotage. When things get difficult, the mind seeks escape, but quitting is rarely the answer. Before you walk away, pause. Ask yourself, Would the person I want to become give up right now? Often the answer is no. Success is built on persistence. The most accomplished individuals are not those who never feel like quitting, but those who refuse to let that impulse dictate their actions. This 10-second rule is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about creating a small but powerful checkpoint between your impulses and your behavior. Over time, this checkpoint becomes second nature. You begin to catch yourself before you fall into old patterns. You start making choices that propel you forward rather than hold you back. The beauty of this rule is its simplicity. You do not need elaborate strategies or complex systems. You only need to pause, reflect, and choose. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you will find yourself acting in ways that surprise even you, ways that align with the highest version of yourself. Success is not a distant destination. It is the sum of daily decisions. Each time you pause and ask, is this what a successful version of me would do? You take one step closer to that success. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with these small intentional choices. Master them, and you master your future. How to turn envy into fuel. Envy is one of the most corrosive emotions, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. When you see someone who has achieved what you desire, you stand at a crossroads. You can either resent them, or you can learn from them. The first choice keeps you stuck. The second propels you forward. Most people waste envy. They allow it to fester into bitterness, convincing themselves that others' success comes at their expense. But this is a lie. Success is not a finite resource. The achievements of others do not diminish your potential. They illuminate it. Every person who has accomplished something remarkable is a living blueprint, if you are willing to study it. The next time envy strikes, do not let it paralyze you. Let it motivate you. Ask yourself 3 powerful questions. What specific traits do they have that I can develop? What systems do they use that I can adapt? How can I contact them or study their work? These questions shift your focus from comparison to growth. Instead of seeing someone else's success as a threat, you see it as a lesson. Consider the first question: what traits do they possess that you can cultivate? Success is never accidental. Behind every achievement lies discipline, resilience, creativity, or some other quality that made it possible. Identify those traits, study them, then begin integrating them into your own life. If they wake up early, experiment with rising earlier. If they remain calm under pressure, practice managing your own stress. Traits are not fixed, they are built. The second question is about systems. How do they operate? What routines, habits, or strategies do they use to produce results? Success is rarely about raw talent alone. It is about the structures that channel that talent effectively. Reverse engineer those systems. If they follow a strict writing schedule, adopt a similar routine. If they delegate tasks sufficiently, learn how to do the same. Systems are the invisible engines of achievement. Study them, and you unlock their power for yourself. The third question is the most actionable. How can you reach out to them or study their work? In today's world, access is easier than ever. Many successful people share their knowledge through books, podcasts, or social media. Some may even respond to a thoughtful message. The key is to approach with curiosity, not entitlement. Ask intelligent questions. Show genuine interest. You'd be surprised how many accomplished individuals are willing to share insights with those who are eager to learn. The moment you shift from resentment to reverse engineering, envy transforms into fuel. Instead of draining your energy, it energizes you. Instead of making you feel small, it expands your possibilities. Successful people are not your competition. They are your teachers. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has left clues along the way. Your job is to find those clues and follow them. Think of the greatest innovators, artists, and leaders in history. None of them succeeded in isolation. They stood on the shoulders of those who came before them. They studied, they adapted, they improved. That is the mindset of true growth. The next time you feel envy, do not suppress it. Use it. Let it drive you to analyze, to learn, to improve. The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is not talent or luck. It is the ability to turn envy into action. When you see someone who has what you want, Do not waste time wishing they didn't have it. Spend your time figuring out how you can achieve it too. That is how envy becomes fuel. That is how you turn inspiration into results. The path to success is not hidden. It is all around you in the lives of those who have already walked it. Your task is not to resent them for their journey, but to learn from it. Study them, adapt their methods, then go further. Envy, when harnessed correctly, is not your enemy. It is your ally. Let it guide you. Let it push you. Let it remind you of what is possible. And then get to work. The as-if principle: fake it till you become it. Waiting for confidence is like waiting for the ocean to calm before you set sail. You will never leave the shore. Confidence does not precede action, it follows it. The most successful people in the world did not wait until they felt ready. They acted as if they were already who they wanted to be, and in doing so, they became it. This is not deception. This is not pretending. This is practice. The mind cannot hold two conflicting identities for long. If you consistently act like the person you aspire to be, your subconscious will begin to align with that reality. You will start to believe it because you are living it. Think of the way you carry yourself. If you walk into a room with slumped shoulders, eyes down, speaking softly, your mind receives the signal that you are uncertain, hesitant, unworthy. But if you stand tall, speak clearly, and move with purpose, your brain begins to accept that you are someone of importance. The body teaches the mind. Dress like the person you want to become. This is not about vanity, it is about identity. When you wear the clothes of someone who has already achieved what you desire, you send a message to yourself. This is who I am now. The outside shapes the inside. A soldier does not wait to feel brave before putting on the uniform. The uniform helps make him brave. Speak like them. Listen to the way successful people communicate. Their tone, their choice of words, their confidence. Then imitate it. Not as an actor playing a role, but as a student mastering a skill. Language shapes thought. If you speak with hesitation, you will think with hesitation. If you speak with conviction, conviction will grow within you. Structure your day like that. How does the person you admire organize their time? Do they wake early? Do they prioritize deep work? Do they exercise discipline in their habits? Your daily routine is a reflection of your identity. If you schedule your day like a successful person, you will begin to produce the results of a successful person. The greatest misconception about confidence is that it must come first. It does not. Action comes first. Confidence is the reward. You do not become a great public speaker and then step on stage. You step on stage again and again, trembling at first, and then one day you realize the trembling is gone. The fear did not vanish because you became confident. You became confident because you refused to let the fear stop you. This is the secret of all growth. You must do the thing before you believe the thing. The belief follows the action, not the other way around. A musician does not wait to feel like a virtuoso before practicing. He practices until he becomes one. A writer does not wait for inspiration before writing. She writes until inspiration comes. Every time you act as if, you are not faking, you are rehearsing. You are conditioning your mind to accept a new reality. At first, it may feel unnatural. That is because it is new. But repetition transforms the unnatural into habit, and habit into identity. There is a moment in every great transformation where the person realizes they are no longer pretending. They have become what they once only acted like. The shift was so gradual, they hardly noticed it. That is the power of the as-if principle. You do not wait until you feel ready. You act ready until you are. The world does not reward potential. It rewards action. The person who hesitates, waiting for certainty, is passed by the one who moves forward even while afraid. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not talent or luck. It is the willingness to act before they feel prepared. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? Then, starting today, act as if you are already that person. Dress like them. Speak like them. Move through the world like them. Your mind will resist at first, but persistence will wear down that resistance. One day you will wake up and realize you are no longer acting. You have arrived. The mastermind secret. No man becomes great alone. The quality of your life is determined more than anything else by the people you surround yourself with. This is not philosophy, it is law. Just as a single ember dies alone but burns bright among others, your potential is amplified or stifled by those closest to you. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a guess, it is an observable truth. Your income, your health, your mindset, even your speech patterns, they all drift toward the average of your inner circle. If the people around you complain about bills, blame luck, and avoid responsibility, guess what you will start to believe? Guess what habits you will adopt? But here is the good news. Just as negative influences drag you down, positive ones pull you up. The right associations can accelerate your success faster than any book, course, or solitary effort ever could. This is the power of the mastermind, the deliberate assembly of minds that challenge, inspire, and elevate you. The first step is to audit your current circle. Who do you spend the most time with? What do they talk about? What do they believe is possible? If the answers discourage you, it is time to make changes. This does not mean abandoning old friends out of selfish ambition. It means recognizing that growth requires new influences. Upgrade your mental environment. Fill the empty spaces of your day with the voices of those who have achieved what you desire. Listen to podcasts of successful people while you drive, cook, or exercise. Let their words reshape your thinking. The mind is like a garden. What you plant in it will grow. If you fill it with wisdom, wisdom will flourish. Read biographies instead of scrolling. The lives of great men and women are blueprints for success. When you immerse yourself in their struggles and triumphs, you begin to think like them. You start to see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. History's greatest achievers left their lessons in their stories. Study them. Seek out a group where you are the least accomplished member. This is uncomfortable but necessary. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Growth happens at the edges of your competence, in the presence of those who force you to rise. Find a mastermind online or offline where members challenge each other, hold each other accountable, and push beyond mediocrity. Association is subtle but powerful. Spend enough time around complainers, and you will start to complain. Spend enough time around achievers and you will start to achieve. The people you allow into your mind through conversation, through books, through media, shape your destiny. This is not about elitism, it is about environment. A seed planted in fertile soil grows strong. The same seed in barren ground struggles to survive. You are that seed. Choose your soil wisely. The mastermind principle is not passive. You must seek out these influences. You must deliberately place yourself in the company of those who demand more from you than you demand from yourself. Iron sharpens iron. The right group will not let you settle. If you want to rise, find those who are already climbing and walk beside them. Their momentum will become yours. Their belief will strengthen yours. Their success will make yours inevitable. You do not need to do this alone. In fact, you cannot afford to. The fastest way to become who you want to be is to stand beside those who already are. Surround yourself with greatness, and greatness will find you. Why goals are dead, and what to use instead. You have been told to set goals, and perhaps you've done it with great enthusiasm. You've written them down in elegant notebooks, declared them aloud to friends, and whispered them in the silence of your own soul. But still nothing seems to change. Why is that? Because the truth most will not tell you is that goals in and of themselves are hollow. They are wishes wearing costumes of certainty, and when you rely on them alone, you are setting yourself up not for triumph, but for torment. A goal is a picture of the finish line, but it does not hand you a pair of shoes. It does not show you the track. It does not run the race for you. A man can stare at the summit of a mountain all day and never take a step, and yet he convinces himself that because he knows the mountain is there, he is progressing. But he is not. He is merely dreaming, and dreams without direction are traps. What then should you rely on if not goals? Systems. A system is a daily practice. A system is action minus drama. A system does not care if you feel inspired or not. It only demands that you do what you said you would do, and that is its power. Systems create results, not from occasional brilliance, but from consistent, often boring discipline. A man says, "This month I will earn $10,000. That is a goal. But what will he do to earn it? Will he wait for motivation? Will he check the stars or hope that fortune finds him? Another man says, "Each day I will contact 10 potential clients." That is a system. That is a behavior. And if he performs it faithfully, he stacks the odds in his favor. He puts his fate in his hands. Over time, he does not wonder where the money will come from. It comes from the soil he tills daily. This is where most fail. They fall in love with the end result, but forget the journey. They want the glory without the grind, but the world does not reward your goals. It rewards your actions. And if those actions are consistent and rooted in a clear system, they will compound beyond imagination. Understand this: a goal relies on the emotional highs, inspiration. But a system operates whether you are inspired or not. A system is what you fall back on when your strength is low, your spirit is weak, and the weather turns against you. It is your armor against chaos. It is the structure that allows you to press forward when lesser men retreat. The tragedy is that most people believe they are failing because they're not reaching their goals, when in fact they are failing because they never built systems in the first place. They set a goal to write a book, but never formed the habit of writing daily. They set a goal to become wealthy, but never created the habit of providing value consistently. They dream of the end, but neglect the means. Do not fall into that trap. Shift your focus from what you want to achieve to what you must do daily. Build a system that leads inevitably to the result you desire. If you do, you will find that your days are filled with movement and meaning, and your results will reflect that. A tree does not will itself to grow taller each day. It simply absorbs light, drinks water, and holds to its rhythm. And over time, it towers. You too must create a rhythm, a set of actions you repeat without fail. That rhythm is your system. That is how you conquer time. So forget shouting goals into the wind. Sit down. Build a plan that lives in your calendar, not just your mind. Define what you will do, how often and when. And then, without emotion, without debate, execute that plan. Because it is not what you want that defines your life. It is what you consistently do. The $1 Million Morning Routine. There is a secret known by the most successful men and women across time. A secret not guarded by lock and key, but ignored by those who rush through life like a man late for his own destiny. It is this: how you begin your day is how you live your life. The first hour of your morning is not a throwaway. It's the foundation stone upon which your entire day is built. Most men wake up and stumble into their day as though life is happening to them. They wake late, they rush, they react. They fill their minds with noise and distraction before they've taken even a moment to direct their own thoughts. But the wise man treats his morning as sacred. He does not reach for the world. He reaches within. He begins his day by commanding his mind, not surrendering it. The mind in the early morning is soft clay, impressionable, receptive. It is during these quiet minutes that your thoughts can be shaped, molded, and pointed like an arrow. And yet how few take advantage of this gift. They leave the gate to their consciousness wide open, allowing noise, fear, and triviality to rush in like thieves. Instead, begin your day with presence. Begin with purpose, and let the following ritual guide you, not as a checklist, but as a ceremony. First, give your mind silence. Do not speak. Do not distract. Sit with your breath. Let stillness greet you before the world does. In those moments, you reclaim yourself. Next, reach for gratitude, not as a performance, but as a discipline. Write down 3 things each morning that you are grateful for, not for their grandeur, but for their reality. Gratitude is not only a feeling, it is training. It teaches your mind to see what is right, even amidst what is wrong. It teaches your perception to serve you, not sabotage you. Then read just 10 pages, not of idle fiction, but of something that feeds the mind. Wisdom from those who came before you. Insight that stirs your potential. This habit, done daily, compounds. In 1 year, you will have read over, and those pages will rewire your thinking, recalibrate your standards, and raise your awareness. You see, too many people say they want to improve, but they wait for life to deliver them growth. It won't. You must pursue growth like a miner pursues gold daily, diligently and with reverence for the process. The first hour is your time to become the architect of your day. Do not let that hour be stolen. Do not let it be dictated by noise, by urgency, protect it, and it will protect you. And if you think you don't have time for a morning routine, you are the one who needs it most. Because if your life is so out of control that you cannot give yourself 30 minutes of intention each day, then something far deeper is broken, and that must be addressed. The truth is, success does not come from one grand decision. It comes from the way you treat each small one. And how you treat your morning is one of the most important decisions of all. So rise with purpose. Breathe, write, read, and step into your day with clarity, not chaos. Do this for 21 days, and you will not need to be convinced. You will feel the difference in your bones. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are not a leaf in the wind, you are the captain. But every captain must chart the course before the sails are raised. Begin each morning with intention, and soon you will find that each day bends to your will. Failure is data. How to lose like a winner. Failure has long been misunderstood. It is not the villain it has been made out to be. It is not the end of the road, nor a sign that you are broken, incapable, or foolish. No, failure is a messenger, a strict teacher, yes, but a teacher nonetheless. Those who achieve greatly are not those who avoid failure, but those who learn to extract meaning from it. They do not run from their mistakes. They study them. You see, every setback carries a seed, and that seed is wrapped in a lesson. If you are wise enough to plant it, water it, and protect it from the weeds of pride and fear, it will grow into the tree of wisdom. But too many curse the ground rather than tend to the seed. They view their mistakes as marks against their worth instead of clues toward their improvement. And in doing so, they miss the gift entirely. Successful people lose just like everyone else. The difference is in how they lose. They lose with their eyes open. They do not crumble when plans collapse. They do not throw away the map when they find a dead end. They pause, they reflect, and then they ask the most powerful question of all: what can I learn from this? This shift, this simple shift, is everything. When something goes wrong, do not rush to shame or self-pity. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what worked? Even in failure, something always does. Maybe it was your courage to try. Maybe it was your preparation. Acknowledge what went well so you can carry it forward. Next, ask, what didn't work? Be honest, not harsh. See clearly, not cruelly. Identify the weak point, the oversight, the error. No need to dramatize it, just see it. Name it. You cannot fix what you will not face. Finally, ask, what's one tweak I can test next time? Not 10, just 1. The mind learns best in small, focused steps. Choose a single change. Try it, then try another. Over time, you build a method. And that method is forged not in theory, but in battle. This is how winners lose. They lose strategically. They lose temporarily. They lose forward. Because each failure becomes feedback. Each misstep becomes material. They treat life not as a courtroom, where every mistake is judged, but as a laboratory, where every error is studied. And in that approach, they rob failure of its sting and replace fear with curiosity. The world will tell you to fear failure, to avoid risk, to play it safe. But those who built great fortunes, those who changed the course of history, they did not play it safe. They risked, they stumbled, they endured ridicule, rejection, and defeat. But they refused to let failure define them. Instead, they let it refine them. The truth is, most people fail because they never begin. They wait for perfect plans. They wait until they are certain. But certainty is a myth. Action is the only real teacher. You will not discover the right way until you walk through the wrong one. And each wrong turn teaches you where not to go. There is a power that grows inside a man who is not afraid to fail. He becomes dangerous to the mediocre, threatening to the timid, for he is not frozen by fear. He is forged by it. Every failure strengthens his resolve, sharpens his vision, and deepens his wisdom. So lose. Lose often, but lose intelligently. Reflect, document, adjust, and then try again, wiser than before. There is no shame in falling. The shame is in staying down. You were never meant to live a life of cautious safety. You were meant to explore, to test, to push the limits of your ability. And that path is littered with failure. But when you learn to see it not as an enemy, but as an instructor, you will never be truly defeated again. The final test, how to know it's working. There is a quiet moment that comes to every person who has walked the path of growth long enough. It is not a parade. It is not an award. It is not the sudden appearance of riches. No, it is something much subtler and far more profound. It is the moment you catch yourself mid-complaint and laugh. That's it. A flicker of awareness. A small sign that the old you no longer runs the show. At first, this moment will surprise you. You'll hear someone around you complain, and instead of joining in, you'll feel disconnected from it, bored even. You won't feel superior, just uninterested. You will see how common it is for people to live in complaint, how common it is to argue for their limitations, to cling to pain, to blame the world. And you will feel deep down that you've outgrown that. Not because the world changed, but because you did. This is the final test. Not of arrival, but of becoming. You know your thinking has changed when the conversations that used to excite you now drain you. You know your habits have shifted when you no longer need to talk about them, you just do them. You know your identity has evolved when you choose discipline over indulgence without debate. These are not grand announcements. They are quiet confirmations. The man who has built strength no longer needs to show it. The woman who has cultivated self-worth no longer begs for validation. The individual who has restructured their mind no longer needs to fight the old battle. They have won, not by force, but by alignment. Growth is not measured by applause. It is measured by subtle shifts. You find yourself choosing better, not because someone told you to, but because it feels natural. You forgive faster. You judge less. You recognize opportunity in places you used to see risk. These changes come slowly at first, almost invisible. But then one day, you look around and everything feels lighter. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. And here's the strange part. Opportunity begins to seek you, not because you're lucky, but because you've become ready. You've cleaned out the mental clutter. You've built integrity with yourself. And in doing so, you become a magnet for what matches that frequency. You meet people who resonate with your values. You find paths that match your purpose. Doors open, not because you knocked louder, but because your inner state has shifted to match what you were seeking. There is a rhythm to life that only reveals itself when you begin to move in harmony with it. That harmony is not found in chaos, nor in the noise of the crowd. It is found in clarity, consistency, and character. It is the reward for those who did the work quietly, patiently, and without applause. So if you ever wonder, is this work? Look not at the bank account, the trophies, or the followers. Look at your patterns. Look at how you respond to difficulty. Look at how you treat people who can do nothing for you. Look at your peace in the presence of pressure. That is the measure. That is the proof. And when the day comes that you no longer feel the need to prove anything, when your actions stem from principle instead of panic, when you're more interested in building than boasting, then you'll know you've passed the final test. This isn't about thinking positive. It's about thinking strategically. Start with one mindset shift today. The rest will follow.